Going to college, it can be overwhelming for many teens. They're leaving home for the first time, and many struggle with stress, substance abuse, and depression.
And psychiatrist Dr. Gail Saltz is here with some insight and advice for everyone. So welcome to the couch.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, so mental stats are in, and they're pretty staggering, right?
Yeah, you know, I think people would be surprised. They think, oh, college years, they're supposed to be your most fun years. But really, it's a stressful time. It's your first time away from home. Many college kids subscribe to the idea that they are lonely at times, more than half, that they are sad. More than half of college students will say they are deeply sad at some point in the past year. They are stressed. They are anxious. They might have sleep difficulty. And many mental health problems present in these years, whether it's depression or anxiety.
Well, according to that, the statistics there, it's almost 30% of students feel stress. And you mentioned something about loneliness. Sometimes it's hard for kids to connect. You know, they've had this group of friends that they had throughout middle school, high school.
Exactly.
Then they go to this new place where they may only know one or two people.
That happens. And then in addition, because these things are going on, kids need to be able to talk about how they're feeling, right? But they don't. So actually, I've gotten together with the Clinton Foundation and with Facebook and with the JED Foundation to try to raise the level of discussion about these kinds of mental health issues, to try to help parents figure out how they can help their kids, but also help college kids be able to talk to each other about what's going on. So if you're sad or you're lonely or you're stressed, you want to be able to talk to somebody else about it. But if you feel ashamed, if you feel like it would be stigmatizing while everyone's partying and saying, these are the greatest years of my life, to say, you know what, I'm having a hard time, I'm struggling, or I feel really anxious, we want to give you language for that. We want to raise the discourse about that.
Well, what would you say some of the signs are to look for in someone who may have this stress and anxiety?
Exactly. So, first of all, you would think you will sleep whenever you can, right? But some kids have trouble sleeping because they're so wound up, they're so stressed, or they're sleeping all the time. If they find they are feeling sad a lot of the day, if they are having trouble connecting, if they're having trouble getting up for their classes and doing things, if they're using or abusing substances, and that's a big deal in this population. And prescription drugs are a big source of what's being used, whether it's stimulants like Adderall and Ritalin that people are prescribed, but some people who are not prescribed are using, or whether it's marijuana, or whether it's stronger prescription drugs.
Right. Let's talk about the substance abuse issues, because it's one of the leading causes, of course, of death among those students. So
it is.
What do parents do, though? You don't have your kids close to you anymore.
Right. It is so difficult. So obviously, hopefully before you've gone off, you've had some discussion about this in your home, that it's going to be omni-available. And it is, that anybody can give it to them, and that if it hasn't been prescribed for them, it has dangers. And talk to them about what those dangers are. So whether it's, you know, we know that if you take stimulants and you really don't need them, they're potentially addictive. They actually can lower the quality of your schoolwork, and I think it's important to inform a student that papers can be less creative and so on, that it's not all for the good, so to speak, and that actually, if you do become addicted, it can affect your mood and cause you to be depressed. It can cause you to actually develop psychotic symptoms. We've seen some terrible things go on with some of these drugs. You have to raise their level of awareness before they go off, and then beyond that, when they're gone, be able to tell them that there are places to go if they do get into trouble. And I think that's another big piece. So, for instance, Facebook has put out this Help a Friend in Need.
This is great. I think this is a great program.
Really important, because, you know, think about it. How do they talk to each other? Well, it's on Facebook, right? So maybe it's an emoticon that says, oh, I have a sad face. What does that mean? If someone's putting something like that out there, you need to be able to read between the tea leaves a little bit. Oh, this means they really are having a hard time. And then how do you respond?
Look for the red flags.
When you're 18, it can be hard to figure out, how do I respond? So we give you the language, basically.
Now, we're also talking about drugs, again, that are legal, because we also have marijuana that's legalized in so many states now. So how do you explain that to your child, that you shouldn't be doing this, but some states are saying it's okay to do?
I think this is really going to become a huge issue, because we're having this cultural shift to say, maybe it's okay. Many Americans are thinking, maybe it's fine to smoke pot. But the studies show that smoking pot with any sort of regularity at all changes your brain structure. It enlarges certain areas that have to do with reward and learning, so that other things that would normally be reward for you, like food, like sex, become less rewarding. And that makes you very focused on wanting to smoke more. So and IQ points are lost over decades of smoking. So I think that parents need to know that. kids need to be told about that.
Definitely.
It's not a no-brainer. no pun intended.
And you see the rise of students, honestly, that, I mean, I read another article that kids are applying to schools in Washington and in Colorado because of the legalization. So, you know, you see that as well.
I think this is frightening. I think this is frightening, and I think people need to really think about just because something is legal doesn't mean it's okay or it's good for you.
Well, thank you so much. Some good information. We always appreciate you being here, Dr. Gail Saltz.
Thanks so much.